distractions from having the two of them on screen. So that's what I thought on it as a Kevin Feige
All
production.
Right. Yay.
This is where the fun is. This is where you need to go. Where we talk about films and help you get to know. So stick around with Tom and Gerry here on Pop Culture Minefield. And help you get to know, so stick around for Tom and Gerry here on Pop Culture Minefield. So stick around for Tom and Gerry here on Pop Culture Minefield. Tom and Gerry here on Pop Culture Minefield.
That's a long intro.
They're getting longer. I noticed that yesterday. 1 minute and a half. We never had long intros like that.
I wrote the song, and that's how long it was, and that's how long I made the video.
Yeah, I know, but you writing the music for our intros changed that to them being longer. They're fun though. I like them.
So there you go. Tom may or may not be here. He last minute he got tagged by Andre to do some last minute video edit. What's going on?
What?
Somebody's messing with the layout.
Martin,
so
did you
Tom
touch
got tagged by Andre to do some last minute Midnight Edge stuff. And so, you know, he may or may not be here. One of the things I was hoping he would be here for is to talk about the 4K, because it's just chock full of cool stuff. The quality of the video is just outstanding. You know, it is what Jim Cameron should be trying to make his 4Ks look like, instead of looking like AI mishmash. It just, his stuff is so muddy. It looks so crappy. I don't understand why he's so in love with the AI thing.
Because he fucking loves technology, if you can't tell.
He's a
Loves technology over quality. That's insane. It's insane.
Well, yeah, why
so
did he...
sorry. That's crazy.
Why was 2000 such a big focus for everything else? Because he wanted to be a trailblazer. What's the point of AI? Avatar. I'm, pushing 3D and this new level of camera work and everything else. He's a fucking tech head.
Yeah. Anyway. What? You said Echo?
I said he was a techo.
Oh, techo.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Penny, who's all here? Who's all here? We got Josh Coe says he's free twice. So apparently that's important that he's free.
Should we say that in chat?
Free. 3.
Same high thing.
Is that what it's okay? Then of course
Yeah,
we
he
got
did it
our buddy
yesterday, too.
deleted scenes. Stephen is here, and Penny is of course here. I'm trying to click on it. Why it's not going? There we go. There's Penny, and then of course Tim is here, and we got War Monkey here. Of course, our friend E. Clay Thomason is here, and hey, the always amazing Stream Elements. And of course, yes, we are celebrating that. This is 12 months membership for Penny. So, woo!
Yay!
Yay! By the way, Martin, I am uploading into OneDrive clip folder the videos for today. So if you can add them when they're done. I didn't get to do all the clips I wanted to do because there's some. This movie and Val Kilmer, you know, he's one of those actors with movies that have just memorable fucking quotes. Tombstone, Real Genius, Top Secret. Just great quotable films. And this has some of the funniest lines in it. Not all of them said by Val Kilmer. I think one of the funniest lines was said by Deborah Foreman. Crazy actress, crazy. I mean, like she just sort of like had something go wrong with her. And that's why you don't see her in film anymore. I'm hoping she's getting help. But she delivers the great line about can you push a 12-inch spike through a 2x4 with your penis?
Oh,
That was delivered by her. Funniest fucking line.
Girls gotta have standards.
But girls gotta have standards. That's the second part of the joke. I love that fucking movie. Real Genius is also one of those films they better never try to remake. Now,
See, the moment you
creator
say
of it
that,
they wanted to. The creator, wanted to make a TV series, which would have different actors. But I thought it was a good idea because it's an ongoing story and character development that I think would benefit a TV show. When you look at the character dynamics, and there's so much stuff that he left out because a lot of this stuff is based on real people. In fact, I made the mistake of reading the article about the girl that was the inspiration. What is her name in the film? Real Genius. Let me look it up real quick.
not Peyton.
She's
But,
an actress. There's an actress in it that she only did a couple of films and then she disappeared from Hollywood. And she was in this film, and she plays the super nerdy, hyperkinetic girl in it.
Peyton or Madison or
Lauren's trying to talk to me, and she doesn't understand. I have a headset that's noise canceling, so it just sounds like to me. Type it into the chat, Lauren. I'll get it there. That's the so I'm trying to find her. The girl genius is it Madison? Is it Peyton? Peyton. Was it Peyton?
that's what I said.
Keith, you said?
I thought it was Peyton.
Yeah, they don't have her in the main credits on IMDb. That's embarrassing. They do some weird shit at IMDb where people aren't always in the same position. And they base it on popularity, I think.
Everything's gone sideways with IMDb in the last few years because I think they got sold. I think the people who were running IMDb originally are not the people who are running it now.
Well, I knew the guy who helped start it. He was actually the first Blade Runner website. He hosted the first, and we were friends. And he says, "Well, I'm shutting down my Blade Runner website, so you're in charge now." He says, "I'm going to go do this website called the Internet Movie Database." He didn't say IMDb. He said the Internet Movie Database. And I went, "Oh, go." So I don't know whatever happened to him. Yeah, Jordan Cochran is her name, the character, played by Michelle.
Jordan. Okay.
Jordan. And she she's just one of those people that just sort of disappeared one day. She just stopped.
There's a lot of people in the 80s that did that.
Yeah, it's
A
like
few movies and disappeared.
she did Real Genius, The Outsiders, and Revenge of the Nerds. And then she got married to John Dumbrill and has been married to him ever since, and they have 3 children.
Different
So, there
priorities.
you go. Her priorities are family. You got to admire that. But you've got some other big names in this film that, like, oh my God, what's her name? The blonde, Patty Darbinville. She plays Sherry in it. She was big in the 80s.
Yeah.
And she plays the sexy assistant that you meet at the beginning when you first meet Val Kilmer's character, Chris Knight. And he's doing a tour at at MIT, is it? Or I can't remember where it was. And she's questioning whether are you Chris Knight? He goes, well, I sure hope so. I'm wearing his underwear.
No, that was the
The
guy.
scientist, I know. I'm talking about that scene, Nick. God. Yeah, keep up with me, man. So we've got some really good character actors in this film. One of my favorites is Ed Lauter. We lost a few years back. Great character actor. He's been around since the 70s, man. And almost always playing a bad guy. Crooked cop, what have you. He was X-Files alum, He played in probably one of the best episodes. It was an episode about NASA. You've got William Atherton, of course. He plays the titular villain in the film as Professor Gerry. Once again, Gerry. If your name is Gerry, you're an asshole. Gerry Hathaway. And Louis Giambalvo plays Major Carnagle in it. God, they got some great fucking actors. And that kid, Gabriel Jarrett, that plays Mitch Taylor, is really good in the film. And he's been in other stuff. People just don't recognize it because he grew up. He's not a kid anymore. He's 12 years old. Trying to see. Were there any other big names in there?
A few. I mean, if you start cross-referencing, a lot of the even character actors in this film would be in other films. This is one of those movies that wasn't expected to be as big as it eventually became.
Plays Holyfield. John Grease plays Holyfield, who's, again, an important character within the film, but you don't see much of him. God, I forgot he was in the film. Oh, my God, he is so good. Funny little story about him is he was kind of a vegetarian, but not totally. He was just one of those people that was in and out of being a vegetarian. But there's this story going around that when he did Napoleon Dynamite, playing the uncle, that when he ate the steak in the film, that it broke him from being a vegetarian, which is not totally true. He said, but he would track in and out, but the fact is he really enjoyed eating that steak. But they said he kept spitting it out because he was vegetarian. I said, that's not true, because he said in another interview that he was spitting it out because they had to do so many takes. And he didn't want to bloat and not be able to eat.
That's pretty common among actors to not actually eat during eating scenes, because you would have to eat for hours.
Exactly. And so he knew that they were going to be doing multiple takes, and so he kept spitting the food out at the end of the scene. And someone said, well, that's because he was a vegetarian. It's like, no, he wasn't a true vegetarian. He really wasn't. He does like to eat meat. He just prefers a vegetarian diet for the most part, and then occasionally he'll eat meat. And he was very fond of that steak. Lauren says, hello, I just like messing with Gerry by throwing him shade. He can't hear when he has his headset on. It's true. I can't hear her. It's like all I hear is this muffled. Yeah, really, like peanuts.
Good going, Charlie Brown.
Well, that'll teach you not to pay attention to our post, Six. No, Tom he and I met last night and talked while we were doing Loki's show. and we agreed that we should bump Alien to closer to the release of the new film. And so I'm like, perfect, because we have Real Genius set up. But then a few minutes before the show, Tom addressed and told me that Andre had last minute given him some Midnight's Edge stuff to do, and he's not sure if he's going to be able to be here. He's going to try to, but no guarantees. So hopefully he'll pop in, because he's the 4K guy. Him and Greg from Fanzine are the two guys I go to for 4K information. Those two just are encyclopedias of 4K. You watched Alien this morning? Oh man, I'm so sorry, Six.
You changed it really last minute. Deleted scenes
Well,
wanted to be here.
we changed it last night.
I haven't prepped, so
We changed it last night, you know.
Yeah, people do things Friday night, Gary. Call me crazy.
Six, if it's any consolation, I fast forwarded through that movie so I can be here tonight. And now it's going to be another 2 weeks. So fuck you, Gary. You made me do this.
Tom's right. Tom's right. We should have gone closer to the movie's release.
No, but
So,
I do got a question. How much of this, because it says based on a true story for this movie, like what is
it's not so much true story. It's just elements of it are based on actual things that happened to the creator. And I'm trying to remember who created it. Is it Pat Proft? And PJ Torqueville. I'm not sure which one is the creator, but they also had discussed recently, like within the past couple of years, bringing it to TV as a TV series, an ongoing TV series. And I thought that's a good idea. I like that idea. They can have some of the moments from the film, but really it could be its own story. And but I read an article recently by the girl that inspired what's her name?
Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan. She's a Chinese student, and she did an interview, and I thought this was going to be an interesting read, and it was just nothing more than neo-feminist crap, talking about how, you know, the movie shows how men are threatened by intelligent women. I'm like, where in the film does it show that?
I mean, her in the movie is basically
falls for her. She's one of the most beloved characters.
Well, Jordan talks about that, but that was part of what her character was talking about in response to why she, you know, is still there, how her current life is, and all of that stuff. It's not really meant to focus on one thing, and it's part of the reason why you're correct, Gary. The way this story is, the way these characters are, it's all set up for a television series. And my only downside with turning this into a television series is it might go the way of something like, it would be closer to Big Bang Theory than it would be Community.
Well, if it's handled by the wrong person, you're right. They would, the guy who created it would need to be the showrunner, because he would make sure it stays true. Because again, you and I, a lot of people don't know this. You and I are very critical of Big Bang Theory because it's not really about the nerds; it's about the girl.
Everybody in the nerd
and
community
the nerds
is
are
critical.
actually there to be kind of poked fun at. They're not meant to be heroic or interesting.
Yeah, it's all basically just lots of basic figures as written by a room full of writers who handle responsibilities on that show and all the other shows from the same showrunner and producers. You know, it's all part of all the tricks in the same box. And that's the reason why I was never really a fan of the Big Bang Theory.
Always the same gag too. It's always, you know, make the guy look like a nerd. Whereas the show Community, which I just got Anima watching episode 1. She finished episode 1.
Yeah, 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's like, but you've seen it, is my point. Jesus. What is with all this fucking like coming up against me stuff this morning? You
Just putting
fucking
things into
Shinatsky,
perspective.
follow
Jesus.
follow my fucking train of thought, for God's sake. My train of thought is explaining that I introduced you that so I could show you more of it, so you could experience a show written by nerds for nerds. Unlike Big Bang Theory, which is a showrunner who likes doing cool comedy and likes to poke fun at nerds.
Big Bang
And-
Theory is for
Mhm.
people who think they understand nerds because they're cool. And they know
Yeah, and
nothing
they're
about
just-
nerds. It's silly.
And they only use
Yeah,
one type
yeah,
of nerd.
that's it.
They use those kids that were brainiacs. That's all the nerds you see in that show are brainiacs. Not all fucking nerds,
Mhm.
because you got geeks too. Geeks are they're it's not like they're dumb. I mean,
Oh,
they're
yeah,
intelligent
wow.
too, but they're not super intelligent. They're just your average students that
Mhm.
just love science fiction, superheroes, comics, all that shit. And so yeah, geeks and nerds. And I fell into basically the nerd group because I hung out with all the smart kids, because apparently I was unaware of this at the time that I'm like smart. But you've got the geeks too, and I had a lot of geek friends in school, and they represent just a variety of types of people. And that show, why I hated that show so much, is it only shows nerds. There's no geeks in that show. And I dislike that because
That's
it's
right.
dishonest. It's dishonest. Whereas I do like the Sheldon series, because it was, his name's still the executive producer on the show, but it was run by somebody else who actually understood something about nerds.
Young Sheldon was so good. That was a lot of fun. Especially me, Mom.
Broke my heart that final season. Broke my heart.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
we had to
and how
finally
they-
see Dad die.
well, we didn't even see it. They just went over it really quickly. And I'm like, maybe he deserved a bit more. He leaves for work, and then his colleagues come to the house and then tell everybody he's dead. It's like so rushed. That was weird.
Yeah, it was fast. And
Like, we have to do this, so let's get it over with.
Oh,
There and done. Moving on. That was really weird.
so the special effects unit for this included Phil Corey, Rocky Gare, Richard L. Hill, Raymond Klein, Mike Reedy, Robert Rowan, and you also had the special visual effects crew, which had Richard Bennett, who was the main supervisor for this scene in particular, the crossbow footage that shows a spaceship being piloted by a specialized astronaut that uses a rotating mirror and a laser to target a person on Earth. And it's funny and scary at the same time, because you see the guy sitting there reading his paper, and then and there's a hole in its seat where he was sitting because his laser went all the way through.
it's almost the same as what you got out of the Winter Soldier, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I mean, it's basically, satellite instead of a manned orbital position, but I mean, it's pretty much the same.
And they made the shuttle, though. I want to point this out, that the shuttle is actually made to look like a crossbow. So they took crossbow as the weapon. Hey, Tom is here.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, it's for two darn.
Okay, we
Hello, Tom.
need to put the panel in order. This is all wrong.
Okay, somebody
We're all
else
in
do
the
it.
wrong spots.
What's wrong?
There we
Yay!
go.
Oh my. I see six.
Well, listen, not to disrupt,
Not
not to be the bad guy here, but I do have to go. I just wanted to say,
Of course, you racist bastard.
I swear to God, the most cracker guy comes on the show, and you got to go.
I am visiting. I'm not really at home.
It is actually
But I wanted to just say, I was just going to say, I have been paying very close attention to what you have been doing, what Andre have been doing. Fantastic work as always. Keep it up. Okay, big fan. But all you guys, fantastic work. I love what you guys do. Even though I work with you, I'm also a fan of each and every one of you. So have a good show today. I know it will be good. So
All right,
thank you very much for allowing me to come on.
I appreciate you being here, buddy. So, hey,
Later.
we got a really good comment here too. War Monkey says Chuck and Psych are some best examples of shows by nerds for nerds. Absolutely. I love both those shows. But the crossbow is both figurative and literal. The special effects guys went literal with it, when crossbow is actually just supposed to be like show that it's a specialized weapon that can shoot from space. But I like that they did that. It's kind of cool looking ship in the effects department. And then I like Toto too. So we show him like heading home, and mission accomplished. So then we cut to the Doctor Strange room, the miniature Doctor Strange room. Apparently a comm center where these guys are shadow government people that are from the Department of Defense and the CIA. Planning
What
how
the hell
to
is this? I thought we were talking about aliens.
Oh, fuck
kidding.
off,
I'm
Tom.
just kidding.
I know.
We made that joke.
Six
I gave
actually
him hell last night.
we were talking about Alien today.
Well, I gave him hell last night. I'm like, why are we doing this now and not 2 weeks or 3 weeks from now or whatever when the new movie comes out?
And I'm like, you're right. You're right. I thought to do it a couple of weeks early, but
well, I wasn't sure if we were going to do like Alien 1, 2, and 3 or what the deal was, but like you didn't say.
Oh, we should still do Aliens too, because I did it on Military Monday, but you and I should do a good breakdown of it. Good. Plus, have you talk about the physical media side of things as an avid collector. So, and while we're on this
subject, it's one of the most notorious releases of the year.
Yeah. So, let's talk about the 4K on this one, because
this is actually a really good 4K. Sony went all out on this.
This could be the standard, amazing, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, they even have the TV cut of the movie on the.
Nice.
Complete with broadcast noise. You know, that TV sound you get.
Well, it's just because they actually had alternate and deleted scenes that were in the TV version, but yeah.
Clean it up, yeah. Alcoholic mice, the effects on alcohol in laboratory mice. Oh my God. Oh. I love this science fair scene. And how Hathaway just shits all over Mitch's parents.
By the way, with the previous scene, I like how there's actual, like, even the shadow government guys are humanized in this. Like, one goes, listen, this is too far. Stop. I'm not going to be a part of it. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is like one of those movies along the lines of like Revenge of the Nerds and War Games. And it's kind of like in between the two, I guess you could say.
Well, we were talking about before you got here is that this is one of those films that was written by nerds. The guys were California. What is it? Not MIT. What's the one in California?
Oh,
Caltech.
Caltech. Thank you. They're graduates of Caltech, and they had these experiences. And the characters in this movie are based on real people.
Well, and that was the thing, is you wanted to get a job in the military because if you got one of these contracts, that was buco bucks and shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a bit of Harvey Mudd in this, like the part with the car in the room. That was like an actual Harvey Mudd story, if I remember right.
Well, that also happened at one of the universities I went to, Eastern Illinois University, where they took the dean's car, as Volkswagen Beetle, dismantled it and put it at the top of the castle parapet. Rebuilt it up there. And it really happened. That was back in like 1970, 71. Funny shit.
Nice.
Nerds being nerds. And this, this film is actually written by nerds, and I think it's a good representation of nerds. And of course, this is different than geeks. Nerds are the smart ones. Geeks are your average intelligence, but they're very much into comics and sci-fi and all that shit. God, he's so smarmy in this film. And it's funny, he started his career to play romantic leads, and he does Ghostbusters, and he's typecast the rest of his career. playing characters like
Because
this.
he did it that well. That's the problem.
He's very
He did
good at it.
an amazing job.
But let's get back into the 4K, Tom. What all comes with the 4K?
It has some. I think it's got some featurettes, and I think it's got like a commentary. Like I said, it's got the TV cut along with I can't remember if it's an alternate ending or a deleted ending or something like that went on it. And it's actually pretty packed full of stuff. I don't know if it was a limited release or not. I think you can still get it. It came out last year. I think it was for the anniversary. I think.
And of course, it's got director commentary.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. Did Val join in on that before he lost his voice?
I don't think so. I'd have to grab. I have to see where it's. I don't know if I got it on the shelf or if I got it mixed in with. I think I got it mixed in with my other stuff yet that I haven't got out of. I got like a bunch of boxes of physical media that I don't have room on shelves for. I think
Because
it's
one
mixed
thing that
in.
they tended to do with physical media is like the prime example, Blade Runner. When it came out on Laserdisc, it was the first director commentary. And when they put it out on DVD, they just took the commentary from the Laserdisc. And then the same thing for The Thing, because Carpenter, oh my God, Carpenter and Kurt Russell's carried through from Laserdisc to all the way up to this latest version of The Thing. And I don't think they'll ever do a new commentary. And I'm just curious if that's what they did with this version of the film.
I don't think Val ever did anything for it as far as commentary because all it says here, because I had to look it up, says includes long requested balloon chair deleted scene and TV version of the film with alternate takes. Also features archival director commentary.
Oh, okay, so that's from older, yeah.
Yeah, it's from an older release.
Yep.
But it looks great. Sounds good. All that business. This is a movie, of course, that was on cable endlessly when I was a kid.
That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know how many times I'd come into this movie like near the end. So I'd seen like the popcorn scene about 1 billion times before I ever saw the film in its entirety.
Should I impose it?
Yeah, I was only pausing because I like this scene. I didn't want to ruin it because I love this scene when you first meet Chris Knight, and he's going to this. I think it's MIT, but it could be. I don't know where he's going to, but it's the next program he goes to in order to get his doctorate. And this is Sherry, and Sherry is a fangirl. She's that girl that sleeps with all members of the rock band, and for her it's geniuses, the guys with the highest IQs out there. And so this leads to my favorite line. He goes, "You are Chris Knight," and he goes, "I sure hope so. I'm wearing his underwear." And he's just trying to be funny, and he's telling them that, and they're all kind of laughing except for the scientist who thinks he's an idiot. And then Sherry lets him know about the sleeping order. He's one of the 10 finest minds. And he says the line, he says, I hope to be two of them. What does he say? Tom, what's the line? I can't remember the line. He got cut out here. Anyway. He says, I hope to be two of them.
I can't remember now, but yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, and here's the big gag about mixers, because students that go to fucking mixers. The only students that show up at mixers are either freshmen that didn't know any better or the heads of fraternity or sororities.
What is a mixer?
It's kind of like a dance that they put together to try and get.
It's for the faculty, yeah.
Yeah.
And the students to mix, hence the word mixer.
Oh,
just to kind of get to know each other.
No, they're both human, blah, blah, blah. And of course, Mitch shows up at 12-year-old kid at a fucking college mixer. Like funny.
Well, it is kind of like, I mean, even though it's a comedy, it is kind of the more serious version of Revenge of the Nerds in the sense that like, yes, those nerds were realistic to a point, but these are even more uber realistic nerds, like you were saying. Like, these are the real what nerds were really like then.
Yeah.
Like,
This is what they're like. It is. Having been amongst them, I know. That's why I love this movie so much, because it's so honest. And of course, he moves into his new dorm, but finds out that he's rooming with somebody else than he was expecting. And it is none other than Chris Knight himself, who picked to be roommates with him. He wanted to meet his younger self. And this leads to really one of my favorite gags in the film. I'm going to file that under H for toy. Oh, and there he is, Hollyfield. Walks into the wardrobe.
I was just going to say there's another roommate too, and he's weird. And the kid is kind of freaked out about this, because why is he walking into the wardrobe? And
Well, it's a
whenever I look
mystery.
at it, it's just a wardrobe.
It's a wardrobe. And he's touching the walls. Like, where did he go? It's a
so
mystery.
Funny. I like how it all turns out in the end.
Oh yeah, they totally. I'm not going to say jump the shark with the finale, but it goes from believable to over the top shit at the end.
Yeah,
that would never
absolutely.
fucking happen. But I understand that the idea that, you know, these guys that work on these things never consider the application, what it's for. They are confronted by the challenge, which goes back to Jurassic Park. Your scientists were so focused on whether they could do a thing, they didn't ask should they do a thing.
well, not only that, a lot of these guys, the way they would do this shit is they would work around it by having one scientist work on one thing, one scientist work on another part of it, another scientist. So
Yeah,
like,
keeping them blind to what
keeping them kind of blind to what the other guy
and
was
that's
doing.
in this movie.
Yeah, and that's in this movie, right? Like, and that's what I was talking about this movie, that it, even though it's a comedy, I think it does a pretty good job of kind of capturing what it probably was like dealing with this kind of stuff. Because that was the thing, is this is that era when military went from, and you could probably speak to this a little bit more, Gerry, a little bit more from the analog to the digital age, right? And so many things were changing in the military from, you know, just being your typical, like, you got a knife and a gun and keep your socks dry, kid, to actually being suited up with all sorts of different stuff, and to be able to use satellites, and, you know, leading directly to the stuff we have today, right? So, I mean,
which
like I said,
we
you could
are
probably
on
expand
the
that.
cusp of robotic soldiers. We now have combat drones that are piloted like a regular fighter. You know, it's scary where we're at, you know, and it's because of technology like this. And I always tell people too, you know, you like that microwave oven? That came from the military. All sorts of things you have in your life started in the military first. And then they saw the application could be made.
Well, and the
commercial.
microwave, I think, was invented on accident anyway, if I remember
It
right.
was. The story that I heard was that a guy had sat his sack lunch next to
Same
his
story I
ring
heard, yeah.
on his vessel, and I think it was a submarine, and it cooked his food, like ruined it, Brian, ruined. And so they discovered that microwaves are emitted, and that they could use this commercially, and hence came the microwave oven, because originally it was called the radar range. Remember that?
Yeah, and
Nobody.
big proponent, and a big proponent of it was to be able to cook popcorn at home without
Yeah.
having to do it the old way. Like, that was
Yeah,
actually
we had the air
true.
popper. Did you have one of those? I had an air
Oh
popper.
yeah, everybody had
I
either
love
an
that
air
thing.
popper, or they just did it on the stove at that point. And that's the thing, is doing it on the stove is
Jiffy
good
Pop.
good as it is. Especially, if you're doing it even home, you have like the oil and all that business. It can get dangerous. You can start fires really easy. Trust me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Excuse me, what? How do you start a fire by doing popcorn in a pot?
Well, if you have oil in it, it splashes around, and if you have
Yep.
a range that has like the filaments, or on a gas range, you can just go.
Gas ranges is where it's dangerous because of
You
fire.
cover it with a lid,
flames.
though. You don't want popcorn jumping around in your fucking kitchen. You put a lid on it.
Well, no, that's no fun.
No, it's super fun. I remember
Yeah,
my
where's
mom
the
had,
fun in that?
no, my mom had a glass pot.
Leave it to a
No, I
European
don't.
to
I'm just
fuck up
picking on
something
her.
that's fun.
I'm just picking on you,
No.
Adam, of course. No, but just on accident, if something were to, spill out or whatever when you're like doing whatever, it can be. It was just a pain in the ass. That was kind of the main thing. But anyway, that being said, moving on.
Scalding drops of liquid.
Yeah.
You know what's really fun? Making
Flammable
popcorn on the
liquid.
stove and then having your cats being all irritated because of the popping noise, and then you lift the lid a little bit so little pieces of popcorn shoot out and the cats go batshit crazy. That's fun. Because they're already on the edge from the noise, and then suddenly things fly through the air. That's fun.
By the way, there's a scene that just passed by that I love so much when Bodhi brings the professor up to what's been happening in the lab, and he does a moment by moment repeat of what just happened, and it has when he goes, "Your stutter's getting better." I love that scene.
The character dynamics were perfect in this film too, because Mitch and Knight are basically two polar opposites. Mitch is too responsible, Knight is too irresponsible. And as the movie goes by,
yin and yang.
Yeah, they even themselves out.
Yep. By the way, very famous film producer, screenwriter, Dean Devlin plays the part of Milton in this. And you'll see him in the study hall scene.
That is correct, yes. Independence Day, Godzilla, all that stuff.
He met what's his name, the German director on the movie Moon 44.
Yep. Roland Emmerich.
Roland Emmerich. And because he was an actor on it, and they became very friendly and started partnering up and doing stuff. But it seems like their partnership died. I don't know what happened.
One pissed the other off, or they just drifted apart.
Heard nothing. So I don't know. The one thing I'm trying to find is the shithead in this movie. I can't remember
Which
who
one?
plays him.
Yeah, which
The
one? That's
the
right.
student shithead that's always up against Chris Knight.
Robert Prescott.
Robert Prescott. Because I love that character.
Because they don't even give him a last name. He's just Kent.
Yeah, Kent. Kent. It's like Newman.
Yep.
And outside of this film,
he's
man,
in
I've seen him in other
Spaceballs.
stuff and didn't know it was him. The reason why is because the glasses and the fucking braces make him look so different from what he normally looks like.
He's in the Bourne Legacy. Crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Kent's in the Bourne.
He's
Good
in a
for
lot of
him, man.
films. He plays Mr. Verne in Michael Clayton with George Clooney. He plays Cole Whittier in Bachelor Party. I didn't recognize him. Let's see, Spaceballs. He was a sand cruiser driver. God, he's in so many fucking movies. And it just
I recognize him from that, yeah. From
he looks so totally different.
Bachelor Party.
Here, I'll give you an example. This is from Michael Clayton. Present share screen. This is what I mean about how different he looks. That looks nothing like Kent.
Hey, if you do it right, man, you dress someone the right way, and they actually behave the right way.
I love that they show him wearing a dickie, by the way, too.
A what?
You guys know what a dickie is?
No.
It
Anima
was
should.
popular in the 70s and the 80s. It is a mock turtleneck. It's just.
Oh, I
this
thought you were
part-
going to say penis.
Nope. No.
Even I know that's not it, but it is a weird name.
Well, it's kind of funny because the name is like it does resemble kind of what.
So here's when she walks into the bathroom to talk to him. She goes, "Are you peeing?"
I actually knew geeky girls like this. They would just go up and it's like, I did this for you, and then they would just go.
And she's clearly like on the spectrum.
Absolutely.
Oh, very much
Yeah.
so.
She's she even says it, hyperkinetic brain. She's ADD or ADHD.
She's the definition of that. And she's annoying.
Annoying, but I would have liked her.
Uh.
Just there's something likable about her.
Yeah, but she's just so hyper. Sometimes you just want to tell her, sit down and shut up for a minute.
I love this scene.
It's a great
and
setup.
I have a couple of clips from it, by the way. Let's see, where is it? They were in order, but they're not in order now.
I also just love that he stapled his underwear.
A lot of people don't notice that. That he's wearing underwear not his size, and they're baggy, so he has to staple the waistline. And that's why it sticks out funny on the side. I like that. There are a lot of connections between this movie and Valley Girl, including director Martha Coolidge, Deborah Foreman, that's right, and as mentioned earlier, Michelle Merrick. Okay. I've never seen Valley Girl. It was in the theater at the same time as Return of the Jedi for me. And I just, it wasn't on my, and also, because that year I saw two films that summer. It was Return of the Jedi and Lone Wolf McQuade were the two films I saw. So it was doomed because there was no way I was going to watch that movie over those two films.
Sometimes you have to make choices.
Tom has to go.
Oh, you got to go, Tom?
Yeah, I got to get running here. I'm sorry. I got to get some stuff done for the main channel. I got dumped on me here, but
no problem.
Hopefully
man.
you guys enjoy the movie, and we'll be back next week with something else. Hopefully, or actually, I don't know if I'll be here
in
next
2 weeks.
week after.
It'll be 2 weeks. We'll do Alien.
All right, sounds good. So see you in 2 weeks for Alien. If I have a chance to, I'll pop back in here, but I don't want to.
Good luck with work today.
Yeah, thanks. I got Headpool to help me with that.
I'll
take
see
care,
you later,
guys.
brother.
Love y'all.
Yep.
Bye.
Peace.
Man. So, yeah, this is a great movie. And what's funny is because of the risk that Tom might not be here today, we always make sure to have a backup, and this was the backup, and oddly, it ended up becoming the primary because Tom got with me last night. We started talking about we need to really do Alien closer to the release. There are lots of connections between this movie. Yes, I dig that. You know what? I'm going to finally watch that movie. I'm going to watch Valley Girl. Oh, hey, what's up, Mephisto?
By the way, Martha Coolidge, good director. They never point out this movie is, championing it as being a female-directed one.
Hit film directed by a woman. Yep.
Yeah.
Jamie G is here. Voltic Blood. Yeah, what's up?
This and, American Psycho, two of my favorite movies, directed by women. They don't bring those effects up enough.
Yep. I concur. By the way, I know I'm not Martin, but I'll answer the question, Mephisto. Tom and I did Loki's show last night. And during the show, we just got into conversation about doing Alien. We should do it closer to the release of the film. So we bumped it to 2 weeks from now. It'll be the same weekend that Alien Romulus comes out, same weekend. And so we decided to go ahead and do this one because we both love this film. But sadly, last minute, Andre, he's such a jerk. No, I love Andre. He threw some work on him today that he has to get done. And so he had to get back to it. That's why he's only able to drop in for a little bit.
That is not the correct answer. The correct answer is the alien got shut off of the ship and presumably dead in space. That's what happened to it.
Did it, Martin? Did it?
You never know. Now, did
I just wanted you to
broke-
see how long I could sit still. And I can go even longer.
I was going to ask, but then I see you a little thing of this fucker is doing it again.
Gary's just, I'm quietly judging you, Martin.
I
and
have
continue to
pissed
judge
off
you.
so many of my cats, Shinotsky, in the past because I can stare long periods of time without blinking. And they would. It's funny. You could tell they're getting mad because you'd hear this sound. Oh.
Oh, that's when they get seriously annoyed.
Yeah, he's sitting there looking at me and he says, because he doesn't like the way I'm looking at him.
No, I find it like we just got through like the first montage. I do find it funny how many montages they use in this movie because you think they're usually only like one in most of these kinds of films, but they put like was it 2 or 3?
There's 3 in the film, but only one major one, and that's the big transition. Like, how are we going to get even? Transition, and it's also. I want to point out too something else amazing about this film is its fucking soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Every single song in this film is perfect. And I love that.
You can't even get half these songs.
Also, by the way, one montage is about Mitch. That's this montage we're watching right now. Mitch just feeling like an outsider because, like, he's the only one who shows up to class. Not even the professor is there. The professor left a reel-to-reel of his lecture, and everybody else has recording devices to record his recorded lecture. And he's like, goes in there like, what the fuck? And that was Mitch's introduction montage. And then later, the big montage is when Chris Knight is told he's out. And he's sitting out there on the balcony, for some reason, looking off into empty space when the moon's behind him. And I always thought that was weird. Like, what's he looking at? But
the void.
Mitch comes out there. Young Mitch gives him the heart-to-heart, quoting back some of his own words, including, it's a moral imperative that you beat him. And of course, Chris Knight loves his own words being thrown at him. But he also has a great joke in that scene, which I'll play the clip of when we get to it.
I drank what?
Don't fucking, dude. God damn, man. Fucking, like, you're one of those people at a party, person telling a joke, and then you jump to the punchline and say it out loud before they get to it, aren't you? Admit it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well,
Just giving you some of your own medicine, Gerry.
You know what this implies, right? You have to run Chinatsky's video. Do we have it here? I don't remember.
What are we talking about?
Chinatsky's video, the one
I have a banner.
Doomed.
Yeah, he
Yes,
has a
Chinatsky,
banner.
you have
Since
a
when does he
video.
have
Oh, do I have
video?
that in here? Yeah, here it is.
It's hopeless. Well,
It's hopeless.
It's hopeless.
It's hopeless. We're all doomed.
We're all doomed.
Glum was my favorite character in that cartoon series. So
Never
anyway,
saw it.
is Tim here? Did I see Tim come in? Right?
Yes,
he's here.
one of the first.
We never played his video.
by what name are you known?
There are some who call me. No, now go away or I shall taunt you a second time.
So, and for Enema being frustrated with us today.
Hey, Mayor, where are you, German?
Fuck you, Gerry.
I think that's his goal with you, Anima. I hate to break it to
Oh
you.
my God, Chin.
No, I love this.
That
He
was-
finally figures out this how Holyfield does it. And I love that moment of absolute terror when it looks like he's going towards a cliff on that little roller coaster ride. He's trying to figure out, how do I get out? How do I get out? There's no getting out. You're stuck. Just trust the ride.
How do you even build this? I mean, this is like a huge engineering job.
It's humanly impossible to have that under a dormitory. It would have had to have already existed.
Yeah.
And he just
Yeah,
reconned it.
most,
Yeah, that's the
I'll just-
skull. There it is. The skull is what scares him. Oh shit!
By the way, a lot of the writings on here, they're the commands in Zork, if I remember right, which is a popular text adventure game from back then.
I've never played it. I'm a nerd, but not that big a nerd. My first video game, technically computer game, was Lunar Lander and Star Trek. And we didn't have a monitor at our school, so frame by frame, you had to print everything out on a dot matrix printer. So it was a bitch to play some of those games. Hollyfeld on his little computer. And I love this house, by the way, that Hathaway lives in. It's not a real house. It was built for the movie.
Yeah, well, so they can destroy it in the end.
Yeah. And the effects guys had a blast doing the popcorn.
I mean, it gives the word popcorn movie a whole different meaning.
And by the way, that's the first hint to what they're going to do. It's foreshadowing. He says, "Is that popcorn? Get that away from me. I hate popcorn." So that's going to pay off later.
It's especially nice because, in a roundabout way, they tell you, by the way, he took all these funds that were supposed to go to the laser and spent them on this house.
Yep. And that's why he's scared, because he knows also how dangerous the DoD is. And this leads to another great line in the film. It's a non sequitur, which is my favorite kind of humor. But there's a logic behind what he's saying. So the joke is as non sequitur as it is, actually has a point.
Yes, that Gerry is too strung up.
Yep.
And he needs to relax.
Yeah. Gerry is basically the dark side of where Mitch could end up if he goes on the path he's at.
Yeah. The one difference is, you could never see Chris Knight or Mitch becoming Gerry Hathaway, because Gerry Hathaway is self-involved, narcissist, and greedy. He is morally flexible, as you would say.
Yeah. They're both trying to influence Mitch into their particular philosophy.
I'm getting ready to play this clip because I love this clip. I've used this in real life, this quote. Here we go. I gotta play it now. Great fucking line. Back to the slideshow. And this is really one of the films that helped secure his being a star. Real Genius and Top Secret made him a household name. But I've got to say that there is a potential that he slept his way to the top. Not so much by sleeping with producers or directors, but sleeping with Cher. And Cher was connected. He was her boy toy back at this period.
Not a bad thing.
Is she the one? Is he the one she was singing about when If I Could Turn Back Time?
Probably.
How old was he when he did this?
He's in his early 20s.
Because he looks so young.
Now, when I was in Los Angeles, I'd occasionally meet industry people. I was working in a store, And I kid you not, I met 4 people who had all had dealings with Val Kilmer, and they all fucking hated him.
Oh, I've
Really?
I work for Warriors Inc. And they had a direct connection to him with Alexander. And I heard, love him, but what a nightmare working with him. He was always late. They'd have to go hunt him down in his trailer.
Wow. Damn.
Well, at least he was in his trailer. And you know where to find him.
I do love this
That'd be
laser
w-
scene because you begin to wonder, like, what if somebody was in the way? He killed somebody.
And
No,
it's
not
a
with
set.
those.
It's a set for
Those
what happens later, because you can see when the lasers almost hits that statue.
almost they hit
I
it.
put a hole. There's a hole in the statue. It went through the statue, and that's this scene. Isn't that this scene?
No,
No.
this is that's
No.
after. That's when
I'm
That's
he solves
saying-
later.
the problem.
when they
I'm-
do the 500 gigawatt. That's right.
Yeah, I'm saying that this is like a setup without you knowing it for showing what's happening later.
These are girls from a hairstyling school right down the street.
This has one of my favorite lines in it. It's like, don't eat that. Don't you know it will give you extreme large breasts? Oh my god, I'm too late.
I'm too late. And this is another scene with Dean Devlin in it. There's Dean Devlin right there in the back with the red shirt.
Dean Devlin was red shirt.
And of course, that's a slide from a fucking 747 emergency slide. Oh yeah, this is the right here. It's too late. And then of course Jordan shows up and she's kind of like, jealous. And this is
And
where
there's
kind of
Kent.
they develop their relationship, her and Mitch. It's from that scene on. Yeah, threatening him. Incredibly poor taste.
They wrote his ego so amazingly. Like, he literally even has the science show going on.
Yeah, and what this reminds me of, by the way, is later on when they do Ghostbusters 2, Venkman is doing a show similar to what he's doing here, a science show. Which I thought was neat.
In essence, Gerry Hathaway is the original Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, not good at the research, but has a doctorate, so he knows how to read it.
Yep. I mean, he's getting all these kids to do the work for him because obviously he can't do it.
And this poor guy, Kent, all he wants to be is his little, I don't know what to call it.
Teacher's pet.
Teacher's pet. That's what he wants to be. He wants to be the teacher's pet.
He wants his senpai to notice him. And they do have a great breakdown when he's like, when he's gushing all over Chris Lane, he's like, wait a second, I've done all these things for you. I've picked up your laundry. I've done your classes for you. You're giving it to him? And
I did that mirror for you. Remember that? That's when everything falls into place. Here's where she gets upset with him. It's a cute scene. Is this what you want? No. And then they end up in the water smooching. It's cute.
It's like, could I meet your parents? No. What? Are you embarrassed about it? No. Them.
Yeah, no, that is funny because he's embarrassed of his parents. I like that because they're normies. His parents are normies. They had a super intelligent child.
Yeah, and they
And
want
that
well
was
for
one
him,
of the
but they
best
don't know how
jokes.
to do it.
It is.
That one of the best jokes made by Gerry when he asked the mother, "Any chance he's adopted?" And
Yeah, I
she said,
know.
"No, amazing."
I always thought the most dickish thing he did was when he's yelling at the workers to keep going. It's like, that's what you get for not having an education. I'm like, damn.
So while Tom and I were talking earlier, did we miss a scene with the 12-inch spike?
I don't think so.
It sure feels like we're already getting to the point where he's fired.
I can't remember.
Yeah, everybody's bummed out now. And poor Mitch is going to go mope. Oh, this is where they screw him and put grease on the lens
No,
or one
here's
of the
when they.
glass plates.
No, at this point.
Oh, they
what they're
record
doing
him,
is-
right?
Yes.
Oh, I hate this scene. What a nightmare. They record him crying to his mom. I want to come home. You can't come home, honey. We've already rented out your room. Like, what?
No, we're almost to it. We're almost to it. It's when Knight
They're-
and Gerry are with the two.
No, they are
D&D
recording it.
guys.
They are recording it.
This is the recording scene. Yep. This is messed up, man. And then when they're at lunch, they play it over the intercom, the PA system. He's ignoring Chris Knight because he's pissed at him. Because Mitch isn't responding to him. He goes, "Oh, that's that. I'll get back."
Here they are
And-
playing it back.
Yep. Everybody's laughing.
I mean, getting to college at 15, man, that's an accomplishment. But man, does it ever F with the people that do it.
Now you'll notice something in that scene that the other dude, the one with the stutter that helped him, he's looking down. Because remember, he had the stutter, he had something wrong with him, and you can tell he's feeling empathy for Mitch Taylor's character. Something that goes by very quickly if you don't pay attention. That he ducks his head down.
Yeah. And even Knight is like, that was jacked. We need revenge.
It's fucked up. Not just because
It's
it's
a-
bullying, but they're just jealous of him. So they jump at the first opportunity to bully him and make him look stupid.
Knock him down, exactly.
So weak.
I thought this place was going to be different, but it's the same.
Well,
Teachers hated me
the-
because I was smarter. I like that.
the lesson from this, and it's true, high school never fucking ends. It just takes different forms.
Yep.
Oh, thank God it ended for me. Finishing school was such a relief to get out of there.
Yeah, it's like like a lot of the education systems, they feel like prisons.
I just had shitty classmates.
Yeah.
When I was finally done with that, I finally became me.
But I do still want to point out that Bodhi felt bad what they did.
Oh yeah.
because he too suffered when he got there because they picked on him because of his stutter. And this is where the first use of it's a moral imperative. We got to get even. And the way they get even is great. They steal his car, dismantle his car. They also get into his braces, using it as a radio transmitter to talk to him. It's just a ton of getting evil with Kent.
That was so
Hello,
brilliant.
this is God. Stop touching yourself. You really are God.
And of course, he immediately thinks it's in his glasses or somewhere. He never
because he looks at his glasses.
Yeah.
He never considers the fact that they're broadcasting through his braces. But yeah, I love this part where they throw shit up in the air. Ha 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 ha.
It's also the part where the movie basically lies out the central point of the whole thing. Is that
this is the middle of the movie, which we have a video for that, but I'm not going to do it. And I like this. He goes walking by and he has no idea that she's the spy that has to report. All right, he's gone.
I just love how they all get together to get the revenge. Like it's a group moral exercise.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Yep.
Yeah, they're not targeting Kent's cronies. They're only targeting Kent because they know he's the one who did it. And there's the car pumping up and down in his room.
I think your favorite.
You're not supposed to park on campus. This isn't funny. You've gone too far. I had help. And he points.
Rue the day.
You'll rue the day. Who talks like that? Rue the day. I also love the ice skating scene.
Yeah, this is the one you were talking about.
Here it is. Yeah.
Man, I just realized at my new job, I have a colleague who looks a lot like her.
Oh, and just to show what a scumbag he is, the DOD guy he's working with. Oh, that's my daughter.
Yeah.
Gerry's banging her.
All right, here we go. I got to play this clip now. But Mitch throws some of his own logic back at him and then delivers the line, it's a moral imperative that you have to get even.
Well, because it's important, because he lists out the actual reasons he should do it. But a much more immediate and much more human one is get back at the prick who screwed you over.
And here's what sucks is there are scenes in this film that I would love to show, but I can't because there's so much fucking music.
I think I have a couple of the songs if you want them.
Oh, I have the entire soundtrack.
Oh, good.
I love this fucking movie and I love the soundtrack. It's just great, including the old song that it opens with over the opening titles. Great tune.
Number one, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's the song that's playing over him taking the test.
Yeah, and Mitch's montage is I'm Falling. I believe that's the song title.
I like that song too.
It's got to eat him up inside to have to show up in a straight shirt to Gerry's class.
And by the way, this is one of the films where he shows his manual dexterity. In this one, you see him twice. In the classroom, you see him spinning coins over his fingers, up under and then back over. And then there's a scene in the lab where he's twirling a monkey wrench. And of course, Holyfield is significantly important to this story because he's the one who explains what the practical applications could be for what they're building.
He's also the one that basically he went through this version of the story, only he's able to warn them.
Yeah, he
of
was
what
Mitch.
happened to him.
Yeah, he was Mitch, and he became Holyfield because what he had created was used as a weapon.
I love this is where like the guy goes nuts. I love that because that actually happens in college. Like, especially if you're doing like late night studies because there's finals tomorrow. There'll just be a guy that just snaps and just runs out because he's just had it.
Happens here. He's screaming, and they're all watching, and he leaves. And once he's out of the room, they shift positions. That's all they do, and they go right back to studying.
Yep, and you just go back to it because you've seen it before. You'll see it again.
Yeah. Now it's this glass. It's supposed to be. It has to be crystal clear for the lasers. There can't be any refraction. And he smeared it with Kent smears oil.
Yeah,
some sort of thick, viscous oil over the lens, so it'll refract the laser.
By the way, only Chris Knight would have a baseball regalia as his safety equipment. You know, the umpire's mask and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what Lazo was printing in his lab. If you're really paying attention on the side, you can see the little card machine just printing those things out like crazy.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, Big Fontaine himself has a question. What? A comment.
4K is outstanding. A very good rescan from the negative 4K transfer and remastered Dolby. Absolutely, I agree. What they did with this film should be the standard. And James Cameron should be ashamed of himself for what he's doing.
You know, Cameron has no shame. He never will. He's succeeded too much for him to have any self-reflection. That's kind of the dark side of, if you succeed all the time, you think you're right on everything, and it could be you're wrong, but there's just other aspects of yourself that make up for that. But you don't see that because you think everything you are is right because you're succeeding.
Man, those giant fucking sanders. I've had to use those. I prefer the ones that has the rotating band on it. You lift it up and you put the kind of either sandpaper or buffer that you want on, and then it connects, and then you just drop it down and start running it over the floor. It's what we use in the military. Those old things, man, they're a pain in the ass because all they do is pull you.
Yep, because friction. Surprise, you have one thing going one way, it's going to be pulling you.
Inertia.
The opposite.
Inertia caused from the friction. And it'll break your upper back, man. The mid-thoracic's going to be aching by the end of the day using one of those that she was using. I like this. This is such a cute scene. Romantic.
Yeah, it's
Let's not consider
actually
the
one of the
fact
more
that it's
realistic
creepy
ones.
that she's 19 and he's, what is he,
15.
15? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only a 4-year difference, but in teen years, it's kind of weird. But
Well, how old was her character supposed to be? Was she also like an early
19. She
Okay,
said she
she
was
was 19.
in the bathroom scene.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's
But
okay
at the
when a
same
woman
time,
does it.
I would rather that than have somebody that's a teenager going out with somebody in their fucking 30s. That's just fucking weird. I have 2 friends. One, he would go out with, not date, go out with like 18, 19-year-old girls when he was in his 40s. I'm like, dude, this is fucking skeevy, dude. How would you feel if someone was doing it with your daughters? Because he had 2 daughters. And that had an impact, me saying that to him. I won't say who it is, but Anma knows who it is. And then I have another friend who's a cop. I won't say much about it, but he was dating a girl who is technically underage, but the parents were okay with it. And I'm like, I don't care if they
Wow.
were. That's fucked up. And it
Yeah.
caused him a lot of problems between me and some of our other mutual friends. We were all very critical of it. And when they would show up at like a party at my place, they weren't allowed to stay the night. No, you're not allowed to stay the night because I'm not going to have that shit in my fucking house.
Oh,
I
by
don't
the
want my kid
way,
thinking that's normal.
I found out recently, apparently at Clarion College, which is the big sci-fi writer workshop thing, there's an unofficial
Right.
rule called the Gaiman rule, which is don't sleep with your students.
And that they have to put that up is terrifying.
The fact that it's become a rule and it's named after the particular person, and yet in public they still say and do nothing is terrifying to me. Because
Well, I've always
sadly, a
said,
lot of
one of the
people
most
won't.
terrifying things about necrophilia is that it happened enough that they had to create a name for it.
That too.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
So, anything else going on? And hey, Gary, great movie. And Tom was, yes, exactly. Always a good movie review on a Saturday afternoon. Jimmy, you mean you
Oh,
don't think Cameron's True Lies and Aliens AI Restoration is not? Oh, my brother, let me tell you, he really. I cannot believe that he hasn't been drummed out of the position of being able to oversee his fucking stuff. Every filmmaker should be browbeating him over that. How bad that is. And I watched it. It looks terrible.
I don't think Cameron cares that much about his older films. He would not treat them this way if he did.
Something's up, man. Something is up.
Yep. There's when it blows up.
And that's a scene that I created a video for, but I had to delete all of the scene except for the thumping of the apple in the trash can and the explosion. Because that's that song, 1 in a Million, or what is it called? You know the song. You brought it up a minute ago.
Number
That's playing
one.
over that scene. Yeah,
Number one.
And it's a great song, but if you play the full measure of a song on here, and it's a commercial song, they will fucking gank you for it. Just one full measure. That's great.
Eat
Gag.
your heart out,
I love that
Oppenheimer.
scene.
You poison the apple, Chris Knight blows them up. What you gonna do?
Yeah. If you stop and think about it, what if he had tried to take a bite out of that apple?
It would be a very different movie.
Yes, indeed. trouble. Yeah, I trouble with Aliens AI Scrub, but don't like how it took away. Well, it took the grunge look and gave everything a plastic look to it. It's bizarre. It's the same thing with True Lies. Everything, his forehead. Look, whether you like it or not, Arnold has a gigantic fucking forehead. Okay, and it gets shiny, and it's shiny in that fucking movie because they're in the sun. And boy, oh boy, his head looks like it's made of plastic.
We're not quite there. We're at a good start with this tech, but it's a couple generations before it can actually, correctly blow things up and it looks right.
Yeah, because it's a different kind of AI. But because AI isn't the stuff that people hear about, like the music and the art and all that stuff, it's not really AI. So it's a
No,
program that learns, but it learns through algorithm. It doesn't learn through other means. And
well,
so
it's
I want to point out this scene. I paused it for a reason because
yep.
he's angry. He kicks the fridge. And when it does, that giant pipe of frozen nitrogen comes out. And that's when he realizes, because he keeps overheating, is that he's going to put a tube of frozen nitrogen around the laser to where it can actually not explode.
Yeah,
Bromide.
solid chemical laser.
Yep. And that's why he has that look on his face, because that's it. It's his eureka moment. Ice is nice.
And that's true to actual science because a lot of discoveries happen something incidental that puts all the pieces together for the person happens, right? Isn't just they're doing an equation that suddenly happens. That does happen, but not nearly as often as you did something completely unrelated to what you were trying to achieve and it just happened to click.
My dad worked in engineering and for a while. He worked for an airline company for a bit, and then he ended up working for Mueller's, which is still a major company in this country today. And they use what my dad invented to this day. It's a self-tapping drill bit pipe that pulls the shavings out, so no shavings go into the pipe.
Nice.
And he got the patent on it, and Mueller still uses it to this day. And he had one of those moments, because the famous moment was in a bathtub watching the water go down the drain. And my dad was in a shower looking at the water going down the drain, the exact same type of thing when he had his eureka moment. And I always thought that was kind of cool.
I mean,
I'll freeze it and get at least an order of magnitude, He's so stoked about what he's got here. And Hollyfield's like, I'm happy for you. Okay, bye.
It's even better than that. It's like, I passed, but I failed. Well, then I'm both happy and sad for you.
Yeah, I love this. He stops and he turns back and he says, hey, Laszlo, want to see a demonstration of gravity? And then he knocks the books out of the kid's hands.
Asshole.
And he's got to go find the kid, Mitch, because he has to share in this. And this leads to that scene where he goes in there and he figures out you're banging his daughter.
I just love that it's so important to him. He just goes, no, I'm not having sex with you anymore. This is more important. And I love her scream just being that
stomping off. She screams and stomps off angrily.
I guess she'll hammer later.
And it's like Chris Knight's like, oh, so you'll hammer later. Yeah. Oh my God. And of course, this is a scene where everything is exposed. that he's in there, sees how it works, and they prove that it works. And I love that he's using Kent's using like old school World War II Korea period goggles.
Safety glasses. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just also love that like he has to dumb it down for Kent, who's relatively speaking to most people still smarter than most people watching the movie. But it's just like, you're the idiot I have to explain this down to.
And when in reality he's dumbing it down for the audience to understand.
Yep. Oh, I just love that they
Yeah, I
made it
know.
into a character insult.
See, Arnold voice. My forehead is not gigantic. Ah.
Hannah will probably say my forehead is fantastic.
Yeah. My giant forehead is fantastic. Because
Something
you
like
say
that.
the way you say fantastic, you say it just like he does.
It tickles you
And
every
that's
time.
why
I know.
it tickles me every time you say fantastic. And there's that other word where you roll, your accent rolls over a letter, and it's really fucking cool the way you say it. And I'm just like,
What's
I
that word?
tickle, I giggle when you say. I can't remember
What
it right
word is
now,
that?
but when you do
you-
it, I don't remember. I've told you before,
Okay.
and when you do it, it just tickles me.
The other thing that I
A
love that they
suspended
do
state of bromide.
detail wise, what I love is that it fires a straight line. The earth is curved. So as it's firing out in the straight line, it keeps going up and up and up.
Yeah, eventually it goes into space. And Kent and Tara goes in the other room, but I made you your mirror.
It's good. It's a character moment that leads to giving the characters a bit of information that when Laszlo's telling them about, all you need is a mirror, and you could vibrate the target from space, and then it clicks.
There's a statue. There's a statue with a hole in it.
Yeah. And what's also really interesting with this movie is that they, in essence, tell you exactly what they're building, what's going on, and the characters don't know till this moment.
Yeah,
in the
while
film.
they're at the restaurant.
Yeah. It's no revelation to us, but it's a revelation to them, which I find interesting because usually in the script writing it would be characters don't know what's going on. This would be the point where you find out. And then
And they explain it to you. But no, we're aware of it. We made the connection the minute Kent walked out with that mirror.
Yeah.
Because we'd been told what they needed to make a weapon like that work. And then, boom, here comes Laszlo. I thought about what you were saying. And then he explains to him how this could be perverted.
And the cool character thing with Laszlo is, if you notice in the beginning, he's not outside at all. And as the movie's going on, he comes out more and more to the point where he's in the hall and he's actually outside the campus.
I know he even gets surprised at one point by his being outside. He's like, "Oh, I said that." A lot of people heard me. And I love Grease. He's a really good actor. He's played a werewolf twice in his career. First time in Monster Squad. Second time was in Fright Night 2. And there's something about his facial expressions that makes him look very, not pathetic, but sympathetic.
There's
He's
a
very good
world of
at
a difference
sympathetic
between
expression.
these two.
Yeah.
I always kind of took him as he's a guy who was kind of weary, especially because of everything that happened. And then he's slowly, much like with Mitch, he's slowly relaxing and learning to enjoy life again after everything that
They're all
happened.
having an impact on each other. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he was kind of happy that Mitch found his way down there. I also love it when he makes, was it pajamas? He makes Mitch some pajamas. He goes, well, that's awesome. We didn't get you anything.
It was
Like,
either him or
you
Jordan. I'm
made
trying to remember
me-
one of them.
No, it was him. He made something for Mitch, and they're like, "Well, we didn't get you anything." I believe that in many ways that Footloose and this film had the potential of making the star, the main character, a superstar, and this one did it more than Footloose did for Kevin Bacon. Oh, this scene, this is great. Where they freeze the hallway of the dorm.
Oh, I love that. And how quickly the ice is gone. That was so funny.
Well, it's so funny.
No. That happened before. This is when they are putting Ken to sleep.
Oh, they're knocking him out. They're knocking him out.
Yeah,
And
right.
somebody walks by like it's nothing, seeing these kids with masks on in the hallway. They knock him out and they're going to wire his teeth.
Weird.
Any
Weird.
other
And I think
dorm, it wouldn't.
People who
but-
have to deal with these kids on a day-to-day basis, they're just like, yeah, don't ask questions. Moving on.
Yeah, it's just
I haven't
just
seen
more
anything.
stuff happening in the dorm. Now, like Shinosky just said, if it happened in any other dorm, that would be weird. But here, no, not weird. This is when they wake him up. Kent.
Kent. This is Jesus, Kent.
Look at that old piece of shit 7-inch monitor. God, the old days. But what am I saying? My school couldn't even afford one of those. Like I said, we had printers at my school.
Oh, like a computer like that was what, like 15 grand at least back then?
They were super expensive.
Yeah, and this was in like 1980s dollars. Like I remember my dad getting a computer in the early 90s, and it was still like $8,000 or $9,000, and it's like an Amiga or an Apple II. It's crazy how much more powerful and cheaper tech is.
Because that was what I was always afraid of, that it would stay expensive and get more expensive as time went on, but they got cheaper. So he's giving up the information to him. I love this. Stop playing with yourself. And that's when he goes, "You really are God."
It is God.
God.
How they mess with him is so good.
There's another line in this film that I think is funny. Is you also know he doesn't like dogs, but when he's walking up, you see a bunch of guys doing construction, and he looks at him. He says, "What are you staring at? Why don't you labor? Get back to your laboring. That's what you get for not having a degree."
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure where this is supposed to be, to be honest with you.
Well, where's this college supposed to be at? Because that would we could probably look up what military.
Supposed to
base
be in
it's supposed to be.
California. It's supposed to be California.
I mean, if it's Southern California, I mean, it's Wainimi and Magoo. I mean, those are the two big ones there, though. None of the entrances to those are desert. Looks more like Nevada, if I had to guess.
I'm gonna look it up because I forgot what location they used. Yeah, they're going to Pacific Tech instead of Caltech. That's Charles Swigert Air Force Base. So let me look up shooting locations. Because that's what it is in the movie. The Occidental and Pomona College campus of California.
Let's see. There's Los Angeles Air Force Base in Hawthorne. Oh, it doesn't quite look.
Let's go down to it. Hathaway's house is at 15632 Saddleback Road, Santa Clarita, California. Let's see. I don't see a mention of the airbase in this locations document.
It's probably one they built for the It's because ultimately they.
Well, I'm assuming it's fake, but they do have a tarmac. There's a tarmac with actual hangars.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess what they probably got the okay to film at an L-port. You just build a guard booth, and then you just rent out a military craft. Did they go through the military's entertainment division for the
It's
movie?
shot at Mission Inn March Air Force Base, Moreno Valley, California. That's the Air Force Base they used. If you type that in, you can find it on a map.
Okay, yeah, that's like in Glendon. If I'm going to the right one.
And all you got to do is if you find the location and find the main hangars, that's where they shot that scene. Now, of course, this is the part of the story where it goes beyond believability. But fuck it, it's a movie. Just enjoy it. Sit back and enjoy it.
Yeah, the house would, obviously not blow up in popcorn exactly like that. And
but they actually did cook popcorn in that scene. They used super heaters for the popcorn, and one of the actors was actually in there when the stuff went off, and was freaked out because they got kind of buried in it, and then they come sliding out of the house.
It just gets goofy and unrealistic
the actor
towards
played
the
Kent
end.
again.
I mean, Laszlo
It's
marrying that
hyper.
girl because she was his love all along, and yeah, it just goes. Check your brain, make popcorn, lean back, and enjoy it.
Exactly.
And it's fine. It's okay. It's a movie.
And it's kind of fun to watch Hathaway when he realizes that's his home on the video screen.
I mean, the way this would end with it, if they actually did Jack, they would probably just put his house in some kind of oximer, and then just so the laser burns his house down. That's would probably be the more realistic version of this ending. But it's not as fun if blow up the house with popcorn.
I mean, they do destroy the house, but with popcorn that he hates.
Because we learned early
on
on, foreshadowing, that Hathaway doesn't like the smell of popcorn.
He hates it. So destroying his house this way is genius. It's a giant fuck you to that guy.
Now, I do wonder, do you think the DOD pretty much killed Gerry after this movie? Because I can't imagine things are going to go well for them with the senators.
Oh, he will not survive. He will die in a horrible accident. Quotation marks around accident.
Accident, yeah.
They find him in some federal park, national park, with 2 bullets in the back of his head and call it suicide.
Yep. Yeah, suicide note. He was shot in the back of the head and then hanged.
I see what he did there.
Twice.
Yeah.
And the gun, how many feet away?
Oh, that one was 2 or 3 feet away. Some shit like that. No, the one we're referring to is the
I thought it was
Whitewater.
Sorry.
No, I'm referring to the Whitewater self-deletion.
Yep. Yeah, go Clintons. Yeah.
He apparently shot himself twice.
Yeah, sure. I mean, who doesn't do that? Better be sure, right?
In the brain pan. Yeah, in the brain pan. Yeah, that's possible in a world.
Of course, that goes to tell you how much of a tough person they were.
Yeah. Also, they want to be sure they're dead after that. So that's
And
what
this
they're
is
doing.
another
Didn't
great
you know
part.
that? Fucking noobs.
He knows something's wrong, but he goes through with it anyways because it messes with his ego if things aren't right.
I also like this part where Kent's in his house. He's not supposed to be, and he's looking through that rose. What do you call it? Church window with the stained glass, and he
Vitro?
sees the light coming, and he thinks it's God, and he arches his arms back
Oh yeah,
to receive
let me
the Holy
have it.
Spirit.
Yeah, that is an odd choice though, script wise, because he's been a complete asshole the entire movie, and yet
Steve's wearing a dickie.
Yeah, and yet the big thing of question with the ending is, will Kent die or not from the laser?
I just
I
want
don't know
to
if
put
that's
this
important.
full screen. Full screen for a second. He's wearing a dickie. You can see it there. It's just a cutoff that's just the collar and a little bit of fabric that goes underneath that you hide under a shirt or sweater.
Ah, so Archer stole the
So-
turtleneck from him.
Are you saying that's a turtleneck but without the sleeves?
No.
Yeah, there's no shirt. It's just, see? You can see it. It's just
Oh.
the collar with a
It's
little bit
just
of
a collar
fabric
and a
that's
piece
called a
of
dickie.
Okay, I've never seen that
Okay.
before.
And what's funny is when Tom said it is kind of like a penis because it is like just a fake foreskin. And he liked the calling it a dickie. They did such a good job disguising him in this film that he was in 2 other films at the period and I didn't recognize him at all.
That's such great humor. Like the guy looks on like, what are you even talking about?
Hey, Sakura. To see you.
All right, I just found the 2 buildings at the airbase. It's right off of the Escondido freeway. That's cool.
But outside of the popcorn, I mean, if you're going to expose someone, this is a really good way to get your representatives, who are probably the handling anti these
You
types
want
of
the
programs.
media there, a channel that won't hide it later and work with the government like most of the media does. I love that bowling shirt that he's got on.
Oh, I love that. Your choice of slippers, they have basically the
Yes.
same
Yep.
thought process.
Yeah, here's the congressman. Now, they have to hope that he's not bought and paid for.
Well, it's DOD, so it's not like they talk to congressman that much. I guess it depends which congressman.
They do. They'll threaten the congressman too, quietly.
Yeah, I just realized there's potentially a really dark sequel to this movie where the fallout of this happens, and they're just trying. The government literally tries going after the cast.
Yeah, when they're on the run.
I'd watch that.
And Kent comes out, but then he turns around to go back in, and they're like, no, Kent, come out. And he looks at me like, shut up. And he goes back into the house. I fucking love that.
It's really impressive that they hate him, but they don't hate him enough to where
They don't want
he
him to
might
die.
get killed.
No.
They didn't want him hurt.
Yeah. Not physically, at least.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to go in. Like, get away, Kent. They try to warn him.
I do love his response after all this happens. That was great.
Oh, yeah. When he gets up from the popcorn ride.
That was the coolest thing that happened to him in his entire life.
They do explain the special effects guys who did this. They actually did a giant popcorn with superheaters. How much popcorn it would have taken to do this?
Yeah, they did figure it out. My whole thing is that the intensity of the laser is so high, there's no way you could replicate it.
Well, this is the other thing. In reality, the heat from that laser doing this would have killed him.
Yep.
But fuck it. It's a movie. I would just enjoy the shit out
And
of
the
it. It
idea
really
is good. I like the idea.
I gotta imagine this must be a great thing to film. Like, I get to do this. I love his face. He goes, popcorn, and he just starts eating it.
I know it. He goes, popcorn. It's just like, wow, that's popcorn. Yeah, it's like when they move the cameras and he sees where it's actually at, he fucking loses. Here it is. This is like when he comes out of the house, he was covered in popcorn, and this was a scary moment for the special effects guys. They're like, "Oh my god, is he okay?"
Well,
and then, of course, this movie helped build another thing, a little band called Tears for Fears.
Was this the first movie that used Who Wants to Rule the World? Because I
Yeah.
know it came out around this time.
Yeah. The song came out, but then it was in the movie, and it sent the sales of that song into overdrive. Look at where the shot went, and then all of a sudden the camera, it looks like it's on a light pole right at the end of the street. It doesn't look like it's been up in the air. But I love this popcorn coming out. That's a lot of fucking popcorn they used in this scene.
Yeah, and if I remember right, they did special build this so it would break in just the right way when they
Yeah.
were...
They did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the thing the 80s did a lot, where it's just like, everything's happy. Doesn't matter if you got fired, lost your job. Everything's
And
just great at the
Laszlo
end.
got... How much of the prizes did he get? Like 36.2 or some shit like that?
Yeah, it was like 38.97, some like close to 40%. That's why I remember.
A weird number, though.
Okay, so they used super jet heaters to cook the popcorn, and there was 190,000 pounds of popcorn kernels used for this scene in that house.
That's so wasteful.
They used oversized hot air pumps. They're like little jets. They have
I wonder
these
how much they
high-powered fans in
burned.
them. Anything close to them would have burned.
Yeah.
But I bet it would have smelled great.
Oh, I love the smell of popcorn. The
Hey,
smell of
Laszlo, what is
popcorn
all this
is so
stuff?
much better than the taste.
What is all this stuff? And this is where he explains the winnings. And it's like everybody's happy. It's the throne room scene from Star Wars.
Okay. That's right. It's 32.6% of the prizes, including the car.
All right, here it is. When Laszlo Holyfield sends a large number of entries to the Frito-Lay contest, he is mirroring the actions of Caltech student Steve Klein. He's based on a real dude, I told you. Dave Novikov and Barry Megdal, who in 1974 used a similar strategy to win McDonald's sweepstakes. Their entries came to roughly 1/5 of the total entries and won them a station wagon, $3,000 in cash, and $1,500 worth of food certificates. The liquid nitrogen coin baffled viewers for many years and are considered by many to be a goof. However, the very first draft of the script shows it wasn't an error. The thermos contains liquid nitrogen, which in turn contains a column of supercooled CO2 dry ice, which is what Chris uses in the vending machine.
Yeah, I figured it was something like that because he never.
Oh, this
really
is when
says what
he gets home during the credits. He comes home and the fucking dog is in the yard with the popcorn. Everything he hates.
Yeah.
That's right. He hates dogs too.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but-
during a crash course in laser technology, the cast and crew received a demonstration of the dye laser as it darted through the colors of the spectrum. Cinematographer Vilmo Sigmund was troubled, quote, "The naked eye can see the beam coming toward it," end quote, he explains, quote, "but it's almost invisible to the camera when it's going away. We went through countless experiments before we learned to bounce the beam and to fill the lab set with smoke, which scattered the light and gave it definition. Otherwise, we'd have had to have created a special effect for the laser." Very clever. When Chris Mitch entered the plane, a background technician speaks. Final check, latitude 65 degrees, 19 minutes, longitude 44 degrees, 09 minutes. These coordinates lie in Russia, just below the Arctic Circle near the White Sea, which was a key Soviet, now Russian Federation, naval and submarine base. So that was real. The film was predominantly inspired and loosely based on the actual events at Caltech, also known as California Institute of Technology in Pasadena, California, of its creators. And I still hope we get a TV series. In the scene where the military set is set up for the laser test fire, the cars in the procession on the dirt road are set up to replicate the JFK assassination. They did that.
Oh, they were having fun with this one.
Yeah, conspiracy theories, all that shit. For the Tanning Invitational, staged by Chris Knight to introduce his sexually deprived classmates to the student body of the Wanda Tossler School of Beauty, the production unit moved to the Veterans Administration Hospital in Sepulveda. Producer Brian Grazer, you know him from being a partner with Ron Howard, explained, quote, "We needed an auditorium in which we could rig a swimming pool, and the theater at the VA hospital had an orchestra pit, which was perfect for this purpose," end quote. Fresh from 2 weeks in cold storage, the production crew now proceeded to flood the orchestra pit and create a tropic atoll on the stage above it. Included in the effort were several hundred cubic yards of sand, an oasis palm trees, and lush foliage. A pump-operated waterfall, 2 small water slides, and a giant aquatic slalom fashioned from the emergency chute of a 747. Now, I only knew that. I didn't read that. I just recognized it because I've seen enough airport movies. You know, airport. 75, 77, all that shit. Nobody?
Yep.
Hello?
Yeah.
In 2010, William Atherton told the AV Club that the popcorn used in the final scenes were treated with a flame-retardant chemical, and so the crew went to great lengths to guard it against being eaten by the birds, which would have died from the contaminant. Atherton also said that even with the machine in the studio dedicated to doing nothing but popping the corn, it took 3 months to pop it all. The recurrence of the initials DEI in the movie is no accident. The truck that is used to transport the popcorn to Dr. Hathaway's new house was Drain Experts Incorporated, emblazoned on the side. The company Chris interviews with at the beginning, and which funds Dr. Hathaway's show Everything, is Darlington Electronic Instruments. Let's see, James Rode Rodriguez, you know him from Psych. He's the main character, Sean. Has stated that his character, Sean Spencer, on the TV show Psych, is an homage copy of the character of Chris Knight in Real Genius. And we all knew that. Director Martha Coolidge said of this movie, quote, The audience has a kind of sixth sense. They know when they're being lied to. I was taken by a story from the start. I'm fascinated by science, but I knew that to make the comedy work and the characters worth caring about, we had to do our homework. And really, they did. Fantastic film. With one notable exception, the antics in the film are based on actual stunts pulled off by the students at England's Cambridge University, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, as well as Caltech. For example, the appearance in a student bedroom of an automobile with the motor still running is based on an actual incident, as was the state of art seminar in which a tape recorder delivers a lecture to a room full of other recording machines. That really happened. The event dubbed Smart People on Ice, featuring the conversion of a Pacific Tech dorm to a winter carnival complete with skating rink prank, was staged annually at Caltech. There, the students take it even further, using a circular stairway as a bobsled run, then whitewater rafting through the dormitory corridors when the ice melts.
Nice.
I love shit like this, you know, because I told you guys this stuff was all based on real stuff. The only
Well,
real
yeah.
fictional aspect of this is the role that the DoD plays in it. That's all fictional, but it's based on reality. But it's fictional, but it's based on reality. But it is fictional, but still true. In their research for the movie, producer Brian Grazer and director Martha Coolidge were not surprised to discover that the term genius applies as well to a genius for mischief. Coolidge said, quote, "Some of the most inspired practical jokers on college campuses are in the advanced science programs. They see a situation which seems perfectly normal and ask themselves, I wonder what's the funniest, most amazing thing that I could do here to this situation to turn it upside down."
Yep.
Which is why, you know, for years I was a notorious prankster. And I'm the kind of prankster that stop other pranksters from ever wanting to prank me again. Because when I get even with them with my prank, they're like, fuck, dude, I think I'm going to need a therapist for that. Hey, Outlaw Bill, what's up, buddy? Absolutely. It's one of my favorite films. It's in my top 10 list of favorite films of all time. And it's one of those films that never gets old to me. It's still the 80s, but you could watch it and it could be today. This could be happening right now. I love it.
The character dynamics, there's something very true about it that applies even to today as it applied then. It's of its time, but it's for all times. That's the
He
definition
was
of a
here,
classic.
Tim. Yes, it's true. He was here, Tim, and he was late because he has to do Midnight's Edge stuff today for Andre, and so he popped in for a little bit, and then he had to split again. It sucks. I love having Tom around, man. We have such a good time. Let's see. The dress code at Tech varies from casual to sloppy, said David Marvitt, who portrays a student in the hall, told a filmmaker at one point. Marvitt said, quote, "When you've got so much else on your mind, you can't be concerned with what you look like."
Yeah.
And it's also something that happened because I used to think there was something wrong with me as to why I went from, you know, giving a shit about what kind of clothes I wore to, as I got older, was in college and started involving myself with more intellectual endeavors. My dress code completely changed to where I like to wear sweats and t-shirts. And often, and I found out this is also normal, Einstein was the same way. I would buy a multitude of the same clothes, same colors.
Same.
So I would look like a TV character because I'm wearing the same thing every day. I look like a character from a movie or a TV show. It's always in the same costume.
I
But
buy clothes,
it's
I buy
just
them in bulk. I buy the same of, like, if I get jeans, I just buy the same jeans at whatever discounted price, because just important to get functioning clothes, not I have to look
right.
good for everyone else around me.
It's function over oh my god, I just had a
Aesthetics.
brain fart the other. Form versus function.
Yeah.
And it's more about function than form. When it comes to clothing, I don't give a shit. I don't put a lot of thought into it. Let's see. Midnight's Edge is already taken off, buddy. Tom took off, but I'll let him know that you said hi and stop by. But anyway, let's get back to some more of this trivia. The popcorn trick sequence began with the construction of a full-size Victorian frame house on a plot in Sand Canyon, California, not far from Los Angeles. Within the house, special effects coordinator Phil Corey and his crew devised an elaborate network of conveyor belts, hydraulic lifts, air blowers, and vacuum hoses, which would, on cue, turn 190,000 pounds of popcorn into a hot buttered tornado, blowing out of the windows, doors, and part of the roof structure. To film the Colonel Carnage, director Martha Coolidge positioned 5 cameras around the building in classic Anytime You're Ready, CB tradition, including one on a 300-foot crane at the Hollywood Center Studios. That's the one that shoots the overhead that you see on the video screen.
Nice.
Producer Bob Grazer explained, to put it as simply as possible, the entire set was an enormous popcorn popper. That still, however, was not enough. When more popcorn was needed to complete the deluge, Lapidus Popcorn Company of Los Angeles, California, pitched in with an additional 90,000 cubic feet of popcorn. Grazer added, we eventually used enough popcorn to feed 720,000 moviegoers, each eating the largest tub sold in the theater.
I still can't get over the fact that it took them 3 months. That's crazy.
The cost of this endeavor was $1.8 million.
That's
Just
a good
for
amount
popcorn?
of budget.
That's
for this movie.
1980s money. That's 1980s money.
That's
But
just the
since we're-
popcorn budget.
It says
look
the
at that
budget was
now,
$8
that's
million, by the way.
$3 million.
So
It's over $3 million. It's over $3 million today.
Wow.
But since we were among the world's largest consumers of popcorn, if only for about 5 minutes, we received a substantial discount. The coordinates for Hathaway's house are given in the film as 34D 10M 15.21S north, 119D 7 minutes south. Assuming the longitude is in the Western Hemisphere, that's somewhere around the farmlands east of Oxnard, California. The script gave a slightly different set of coordinates, 34 degrees, 10 minutes, 15 seconds north, 118 degrees, 9 minutes, 3 seconds west. The building at that location is a mortuary in Pasadena, right off the campus of Caltech. All of the laser technology in Real Genius was the real thing. There was no special effects there. One of the studio sound stages at the Pacific Tech Dorm was prepared in preparation. This is how it's written.
What?
Yep.
Was
just continue.
prepared in preparation for the Smart People on Ice sequence to create the bobsled run and skating rink. Thousands of feet of tubing connecting the power refrigeration unit were buried beneath the floor to keep it cold, to help keep it frozen. Coolidge said, the director, it looked great, but with all that ice, we worked for 2 weeks in the equivalent of a meat locker. It isn't too often you find film crews in the fall of Hollywood reporting to work in parkas and thermal underwear. The math professor portrayed in the movie is played by Dr. Marker Gunderson. He's the one that's giving the lecture, who is actually a physics professor at the University of Southern Cal. When Mitch rides the cart into the steam tunnels, the view briefly sees the quotation, against stupidity, the gods themselves contend in vain, scrawled on the left wall. There are translation of a quotation from the German poet Friedrich Schiller.
That's Friedrich Schiller?
Yeah, it's mit der Dummheit kämpfen Götter selbst vergebens.
Can you copy that and put it in chat, please?
No, I'm going to make you translate what I said.
I want to know what you actually said. So can you please give me that passage in the private chat? Thank you.
Mit der Dummheit I'm pronouncing it phonetically. So yeah. Here
You're
you go.
pronouncing it dickishly.
No, I got
Yes.
the first part. It
I'm
sounds
doing it
weird,
because I
but
know it
I'm-
annoys her.
Yeah, no. You're not so.
Mit der
Mit der
Dunhand
Dummheit,
Comfort
mit der,
Gotter Shellburst
shut up, Schanatzky.
Wagenbins.
Mit der Dummheit kämpfen Götter selbst vergebens. That's how
That's
it's
what I
supposed to
said.
sound like.
That's what I
No,
said.
that's what it's supposed to sound like.
In the
That
film,
means
Isaac
even gods
Asimov.
cannot
Isaac
say that.
Asimov. I've got more important things to say than to argue with you.
Whatever.
Isaac Asimov wrote a science fiction novel, The Gods Themselves, originally published in 3 parts as Against Stupidity, The Gods Themselves, and Contend in Vain. The 1972 novel was about a conspiracy by aliens who inhabit a parallel universe with different physical laws than ours and who are trying to turn our sun into a supernova in order to collect the resulting energy for their personal use. So there's that connection. The aircraft featured in the movie is the B-1B bomber, also called the Lancer. Today, a real-life analog exists in the United States Air Force Airborne Laser, ADL project, a collaboration with Boeing involving a modified 747 cargo jet carrying a megawatt oxygen iodine laser whose purpose was to shoot down enemy ballistic missiles. So once again, there's that connection to reality. The one prank which was totally new and creative for the film, both to solid state physics and filmmaking, was the transformation of a Victorian home into a giant popcorn popper that had never been tried before. The character of Jordan, played by Michelle Murick, was the basis of the animated character Gadget Hankrinch, voiced by Tess McNeil in Disney's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. And she was based on a real person, a real girl who went to Caltech. Milton, one of the fellow geeks seen in the pool party, is played by none other than Dean Devlin, the guy that would go on to produce and screenwrite films like Stargate, Godzilla, and Independence Day. When Chris Knight wakes and cuts the CO2 chips for the vending machine, he is wearing a Heckle and Jekyll slippers. All right, everyone. I've been very busy on social media. This is the first time I've been on a live chat room for the last week. Well, it's good to see you, Lee.
Welcome
Good to
to
see
the
you, Lee. And
party,
by the way,
pal.
you and I need to have a conversation because he's into boxing. He was a boxer. So Lee and I have something in common because I boxed. I was a Golden Glove boxer when I was younger. Oh, look, man, there's nothing funnier than to watch other people toil because you made things difficult on purpose.
Jamie,
me.
Never on accident.
You mean everything, Jamie, not just things. Everything's.
Every weekend, leave. I would put my buddy Goodrum on detail every Friday. And one day he came up to me. He says, "Why you always do that to me?" And Kyle Fisher was standing there when I did this. He's still one of my buddies. He and I are good friends. And Kyle listened to me, and as I just started just piling it on him, I said, "Dude, because you're the only person in this platoon that I can trust to get this stuff done. And you know I always come back to help. So I'm not just going to leave you hanging, man. But you're the most reliable person in this platoon and the only person I can trust to get these things done." And he goes, "Well, okay." And I said, "Okay, we'll still see you tonight." And then I walked away, and Kyle goes, "Do you just make that up? How does he buy that bullshit that you just threw at him?" I'm like, "I don't know." Because I just like doing it because I thought it was funny. And I kept putting him on detail every Friday.
See, Gary, you know how I can tell when you're lying?
His mouth is moving.
Oh, damn it, Martin.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not lying. It's fucking with. It's bullshit meant to be, to fuck with you.
I'd also
in earlier
accept
versions,
creative truth telling.
yeah. In earlier versions of the script, potassium cyanide laser, not the bromide argon laser, used frozen fuel. This is why Chris tells the laser to stay cool before he goes off to take Hathaway's exam. According to the article, The Road to Hollywood, director Martha Coolidge's long trek to real genius, published in the 7th of August, 1985 edition of the Washington Post, quote, "To prepare for real genius, Martha Coolidge spent months researching laser technology and the policies of the CIA and interviewed dozens of students at Caltech to make sure it was done accurately. So there you go. And this is why a lot of the people that are, students, especially at that time, love this movie. They were like, this film gets me. It makes me feel like I've been seen. The California Institute of Technology is colloquially known as Caltech, became a role model for mythical fictional Pacific tech in this picture. This included in areas ranging from terminology to teaching methods to clothing styles. According to the 80s Movie Rewind website and a trailer for the film, there are several scenes not in the final cut of the movie. Among them, one where Val Kilmer's character is floating outside a dorm window, sitting in a deck chair carried by a helium balloon. It's also on some of the posters. And that is never in the film, him doing that. In fact, it's on our thumbnail.
That should have been. That sounds fun.
Producer Brian Grazer said that the movie was about the mystery of genius, which led him to conceive the project. Quote, "To me, a genius is someone who can do something magical, like solve a complex problem in his head while I'm still trying to figure out the question. I don't pretend to understand it, but the results are everywhere around us. We work, travel, amuse ourselves, and enhance the quality of our lives through technology. All of us, which traces back to what was once an abstract idea in the mind of a genius." That's a good quote.
See, my takeaway with this movie was always that it was ultimately how people like Chris Knight, Mitch, and how should what they do be applied to life? And it's either it can be used to kill people, destroy it, or to bring joy. And that's what they do by filling the house with popcorn. They bring joy to a bunch of people.
On the dark side of this, we of course have the film Oppenheimer. And in that, he's got the same quandary. And in the end, though, he and his fellow researchers did what they did, knowing what the outcome was going to be. And then later tried to go, "Oh, woe is me." And they kept a scene in there that I love, that where he went in whining about how guilty he feels to Harry Truman. And Harry Truman's like, you think you're guilty? I'm the one that pulled the trigger. I'm the one who weaponized what you did. You don't have any clue what that feels like, because you just made it. I blew it up and killed people with it. And he told, gave him a tissue to wipe his tears, then got up and walked out of the office, and within earshot said, "I don't want that man anywhere near my damned office ever again." He did not like him.
I do like that movie.
I don't like Oppenheimer.
My takeaway from
Oppenheimer
is he's a terrible human being. And I know the movie's trying to make him sympathetic, but what I take away from it is that he never takes responsibility for anything he did. And throughout the movie, he willingly ignores every sign of exactly what he's doing. Because ultimately,
I checked out one of your videos.
Right. Strauss is right about him the entire fucking movie.
He is. Anyway, Lee, I checked out one of your videos. It's very good. And again, I put it out there. You and I should talk about some boxing. I love pugilistic sports and always have. While fictional, Tech Task Force was absorbed in laser science for purposes of the script. The filmmakers were grappling with their own technological problems. The exercise began in Laszlo Holyfield, John Grease's character, and his lair in the steam tunnels beneath the dormitory. After several reconnaissance trips to the Caltech campus, production designer Josanne Russo, special effects coordinator Phil Corey, and their respective staff proceeded to create Holyfield's hideaway at the Hollywood Center Studios. Russo said the multi-directional elevator, which takes him to his den, was the first challenge. When completed, it consisted of a car controlled by a rotating screw, which descends through an elevator shaft to a turntable. At that point, it met a horizontal track and a hidden drive chain. like those used in operating roller coasters to get it to the top, and then it drops and uses inertia and gravity to do the rest. So this was, oh my God. Typical was the toaster, which not only browned the bread, but sprayed on a stream of melted butter and jelly, and a quixotic coffee brewer, which operated on a microwave principle. The piece de resistance was the automated scribbler, which enabled Holyfield to submit 1,600,000 separate entries to the Frito-Lay sweepstakes, creating a mathematical probability of winning 32.6% of the prizes, including the car. Man, that's fucking great stuff, man. The background music playing during Chris's Darlington interview is an easy jazz or elevator music version of the 1972 pop song Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, written by Elliot Lurie and recorded by Lurio's band Looking Glass on their debut album for the band, which is a great song. I don't know how many of you remember that song, Brandy, You're a Fine Girl. What a great song.
Such a fine girl.
Yep, that's the song. The part where Chris tells Mitch, quote, just take a step back and a step forward, and now we're cha-chaing, quote, was not in the script. According to Gabriel Jarrett, that bit was improvised on the spot by Val Kilmer while they were doing a screen test together, and then they brought it over into the film. In one laser prep scene, Chris is now seen wearing a sweatshirt with the Monkees logo. Fellow co-star Monty Landis and Severin Darden appeared multiple times in the Monkees series. Did you hear me whistle? Did you guys hear me whistle just now while I was talking?
Nope.
Nope.
I did it again. It totally happened. You can roll that back on video and see it. I whistled while I was talking, reading that. When Chris gives Hathaway the apple after the final, he plugs his ears as he walks out of the classroom. Here, we can watch that again. I guess he was expecting it to go off before he got to the door.
We may have watched Attempted Murder and just like glossed over. It's great.
As of 2018, all the songs in this film soundtrack are available on iTunes except for 3. The Tough Do What by Tony O'Kay, I'm Falling by Comsat Angels, and You're the Only One by Paul Hyde and the Payolas. At around the 56-minute mark, just after Chris Knight feeds his fish and Laszlo peeks his head out the door, the newspaper clip on the wall appears to show a picture of Jim Morrison in the lower left corner, which, of course, you know, he would go on to play Jim Morrison. That's not even an Easter egg. That's just, oh, wow, that was in there. According to the article, yeah, pure coincidence. Fun with the Whiz Kids by Paul Antonio, published in the 7th of August of 85 edition of the Washington Post. According to the website Wikipedia, the screenplay was extensively rewritten first by Lowell Gans and then Babaloo Mandel. There's a name that we should know. And later by Coolidge and P.J. Torokov. So I don't know if you guys know who Babaloo Mandel is, but he did Splash. He was the screenwriter for that, League of Their Own, Multiplicity, Parenthood. Oh my God, he did so many fucking great films.
Nice.
That stupid movie, The Tooth Fairy, and it's only stupid because The Rock's in it. Otherwise, I would have enjoyed that movie. Where's another one that I liked that he did? Ed TV, which was sort of
Gerry.
like another film, like
Truman Show.
premature.
Can we
What?
take a look at the private chat, please?
Oh,
All right. Yeah, let's wrap things up then. That's all right.
all right. Let me just find one more film that he did that's awesome. City Slickers. That's another great film that Mandel wrote. So that's interesting. So he was one of the script doctors for the film. All right. So I guess we'll wrap it up from
The
here
following people are gay.
and
Yes,
get to
we
the
are.
end. I play the titles. For Keith, Tom, all of us that are over 40,
Off my
And
I'm over 42.
yeah, there you go. You're in the in crowd.
Yeah.
Shinatsky isn't. He's still a baby.
I'm actually
But
42.
in a
which
few
is an
years,
awesome
Shinatsky
number.
will join us. When will you turn 40, Shinatsky?
When you die.
Fuck you, dick.
Nice.
With that, I want to thank everybody for being here today. I want to thank, of course, War Monkey, E. Clay Thomason. Six was here. She was expecting Alien. I'm sorry, Six. Max Demon, Lord Thoth, all hail Lord Thoth. Scribe Light was here, dropped in for a minute. Jamie G was here. Let's see. Oh, Mephisto is here. Vic Fontaine is here. Zacharot 315, Outlaw Bill, Lee Anthony Davis, and of course, our very own Penny. I want to thank all of you for being here today. And with that, we're going to get the hell out of here. Have a good Saturday, everybody. Be safe.
Bye, guys.
Everybody's heard about the bird. White Val. Buffalo Rock. All right, everybody, go have a life. Do something.